Toni, about institutionalization, we discussed a lot and you are looking for a responsible path towards the institutionalization of public relation function.
Yes, well, what I think is that the institutionalization process is proceeding, is going on whether we like it or not. And there's very little we can do about it, except if we become aware of the process and we understand how it's done, then maybe we as a professional community can help in finding smoother and more responsible ways of accelerating this process without throwing away the baby with the dirty water, basically. That's what I mean. There are some negatives in the institutionalization process, which are evident. One is crystallization, the other is immobilization, the other is a threat to innovation, to creative thinking. Another is that there is very little, how would you say, that you're always considered as being, as a public relations consultant or manager of an organization, you are often considered by the other managers as being part of the enemy. In other words, that if your task is to understand, to try to interpret what your stakeholders are expecting from the organization, you tend to, shall we say, lower their expectations, because you know that their expectations will not be liked necessarily by the board of which you are part if you are institutionalized. So there are a number of negatives in this area, and of course there are a lot of positives as well, but I think that we should be more aware of the negatives in order to be able to cope with them before the thing happens. So for example, if a CEO decides on his own to institutionalize the function, the risk is that when the CEO leaves, he will take that person away with him and go wherever he goes. And the function is formally institutionalized, but there's nobody there to fill it. And the day after, the function disappears. Whereas if you are legitimized internally and you grow within the organization, then when you are institutionalized, you have and you keep a legitimacy. This is just one of the many things that can be done. So I think that we should be very careful about studying the process of institutionalization with the objective of trying to mold it and to make it, to consult our organizations on how to do it better and to avoid the mishappenings.
Can we say that, for instance, that the other directors of the other function will be part of the decision process to ask to the...
Well, this is certainly would be very useful. I mean, in the cases that I know of in which the process was developed through a general agreement of the management and not a simple decision of the CEO, it seems to work much better, let's put it that way.
Yeah, yeah. And is there any sides, a positive side that you see in the process?
Well, I see many positive sides. First of all, there's a side for my colleagues who are the beneficiaries of the process of institutionalization. It gives them more power inside the corporation. It gives them more say. It gives them more responsibilities. It gives them the task of managing rather than the task of practicing public relations. So I think there are many positives, and I'm all in favor. The only thing I would be aware of a, shall we say, an exceedingly enthusiasm for a process which has nothing to do, which we don't influence as a community, as a professional scholarship. There is very little studies about these things, and that's one of the reasons of this Congress, of course. I think that we need to be, instead of just watching, we need to be doing, and we need to be thinking about what the goods and the bads are of every process, because everything that happens has its negatives and its positives, of course. So instead of just looking at the positives, I think we should
So I hope that in our Congress we'll take a good and a deep look into also the negative, not only the positive.
If, just one last thing, which is, just came to my mind. For example, if we were, because I know there's a specific grant for this in the Congress, if we were capable of proving to organizations that we can transform the personal influence model into an organizational influence model through the application of knowledge management methods and practices, this would be a tremendous addition of value to the public relations function in the organization. And from this point of view, there is no doubt that institutionalization is the next step.
Yeah, let's discuss it in our Congress.